Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about a crucial mistake that a lot of beginners are making when calculating their profit. And what's happening is they're launching their products on Amazon and they're making a loss because they've forgotten to do one key thing. So if you are interested in Amazon FBA, if you are an active Amazon FBA seller and you want to see videos to do with, guess what? Amazon FBA, then please do remember to subscribe to the channel. So without further ado, let's get into the topic at hand. Now, in order to explain the mistake that beginners are making, we're going to be walking through my free profit calculator that I've put together. If you would like to download that, all you need to do is visit the link in the description box below. So let's have a look at the profit calculator that I put together now. And we're going to fit it out together, and then I'm going to explain to you what the mistake is that a lot of beginners are making, which is meaning that they're making a loss. So for those of you that might be new to the channel or you've never seen the tools that I provide my channel viewers, anything that is in a yellow cell is for you to change. It's an input cell and you don't need to worry about changing anything else. So I have done numerous tutorials in the past in terms of how to fill this calculator out. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's not going to be the point of this video. I'll put a link for the instructions for this in the corner now. But we're going to fill this out and then we're going to talk about the mistake that a lot of people are making, which means that they're making a loss when they start selling with Amazon. So let's say that we have found a product that we want to sell. We've discovered it's got lots of demand. We think that we can differentiate ourselves versus the competition. And generally, it looks really attractive. But we need to clarify one thing, don't we? Profitability. We're not doing this for free. We need to make sure that the product is profitable. So the first thing we'll fill out is the selling price, how much we want to charge our customers. And let's say that we've been on Amazon and we can see the average selling price within the niche is £15. So we put 15 here. Then the next thing is the fulfillment fee. So how much is Amazon going to charge us to pick, pack and post the product each time a order is made? And let's say that we've looked it up and it is going to cost us £3. Then we've got the referral fee, so the commission that Amazon charges, 15.3% we'll say. The landed cost, we will say that we've had a look on Alibaba or whichever alternative supplier website, and we have estimated that it will cost us £6 on average per unit to get the product manufactured and shipped to an Amazon fulfillment center. So that's £6. Storage cost, we can say we've looked that up and it is 10p per unit per month. And then finally, the refund percentage. So how many of our orders as a proportion out of 100 do we think are going to result in a refund? I will typically on the side of caution here. I'll say 5%. I'd say that's quite conservative. It depends what niche you're in, but anything 3 to 5% I think is sensible. So let's have a look at the results now. So what it's saying is the selling calculator, the profit calculator, is saying that we are making £2.32 profit per unit, which is a 15% profit margin. Happy days, right? If you are a beginner, completely new to the Amazon world, you might be thinking that's great. If I can sell, 20 units a day, that's going to be 40 quid profit per day, which is going to be over £1,000 profit per month. Brilliant. But you have made one crucial mistake here, and this is a mistake that lots of people are making when they are assessing products and their profitability. They've forgotten one key cost, and this is so important to understand. So this is what it is, guys. I hid it, and now I'm going to reveal it. It is PPC, so pay-per-click advertising. Now, Amazon as a marketplace relies on people paying advertising costs in order to get their listings shown because there are just so many listings. And pay-per-click advertising is a fundamental part of selling on Amazon. You will not be able to sell profitably in the long term, in the long run, without it. A lot of people think that you can kind of have advertising like for the first couple of weeks and then just turn it off permanently. And I'm telling you, that is not going to allow you to achieve success in the long run. Every single company in the world advertises, right? Coca-Cola is a prime example. They are the number one drinks provider in the world. Everybody knows who they are, but they still advertise. They still have the biggest advertising budget in the world. Same with Apple, same with Microsoft, same with all of these huge companies. Advertising is really, really important, and you can never not do it, in my opinion. So, when you are doing your profitability analysis, when you are assessing whether a product is going to be worthwhile or not, you must consider pay per click advertising. And I'm going to talk you through now how you can kind of ascertain what the costs might be. So, if you're not familiar with how pay per click advertising works on Amazon, I'm just going to run you through it very quickly now. If we are pretending that we're a customer searching for a posture corrector, you can see here when we scroll down, these 4 listings all say sponsored on them. And that means that these 4 listings are paying to be there. They're paying to be at the top of the search results. And the reason they want to do that is because the majority of purchases that are made on Amazon are made within the first 4 spots of the search results. So don't underestimate the power of being here, which is the next 4 organic. These guys are not paying to be here because a lot of sales do get made from those positions as well. But I can promise you that the majority of customers will always click on one of these listings here first, if of course the listing is relevant and it looks attractive. So pay-per-click advertising works a bit like an auction. You will bid a certain amount in an auction, and the person that is willing to pay the highest amount for, in this case, posture corrector, will get placed in this position, and then the second place will be here, third, fourth, and so on. And you will only get charged for each click that a customer makes on your listing. So that is how it works. Now, in terms of assessing your level of profitability when incorporating advertising costs, well, it is actually quite hard because there's no one that you can go to for a specific answer. You can't ask your supplier. You can't really ask people in public groups because it all varies based on what category you're in, what selling price you've got, and so on. So my advice is to just go for the average of what most people are able to achieve if their listing is optimized and if their product is good. And in my experience, that is a advertising cost of between 20 to 30% of your selling price. And that the advertising cost as a proportion of your selling price is known as the ACoS, advertising cost of sales. That is how Amazon basically measures your advertising performance. So what you can see here is we do actually have an input field that says PPC ACoS. So if we put in the midpoint of that, 20 to 30, we put in 25%, that means that if all of our sales, every single sale that we make on Amazon is to be done through pay-per-click advertising, then we're going to be making a loss, aren't we? £2.18 loss per unit. But the good news is that over time, as you start to make more and more sales on the Amazon platform, Amazon will reward you and they will increase your position in the search results. So if we just go back to that page that I was on previously, you can see the top 4 listings here all say sponsored, and a lot of sales will be made through those. But these next 4 here are all there organically, which means that they're not paying to be there. And whilst there won't be as many sales going to these guys as there will going to the top 4, the sponsored listings, there will still be an absolute shed load of sales going to these guys. So the way to get to these positions here, all these organic positions that don't say sponsored, is by simply showing to Amazon that you are able to make sales, you are able to convert, and customers are buying your products and they are liking them. So that is the good news, guys. Over the longer term, maybe even over the shorter term, if you can really show Amazon that your product is great, you will start to get organic sales. And again, in terms of assessing how much of your sales are going to be organic, it's difficult to say. But in my experience, speaking from my own sales, speaking from my students, speaking from people in the group, it can be 50% and even higher. I do know people that get like 80% plus. I'm very jealous of them, completely organically. But in my experience, it does range, or it does vary from day to day. It's like 50 to 60, 65% thereabouts. So that means that on a weighted basis, your advertising costs are going to be around 12.5% of your selling price. And that actually, 12.5% is the average for all sales across the Amazon advertising platform. So now that we've filled that out, now that we're saying to our profit calculator, make sure you include 12.5% of the sales price as advertising costs. Let's have a look at how our profit margin is doing. You can see that it is now 7 pence per unit. So we're making a profit, but there's not much space before we're making a loss, or a 0.0 whatever percent profit margin. And that, guys, is why it is so important that when you are doing your profitability analysis, you make sure that you include advertising costs and you make sure you are sensible in your assumptions. And I would say a sensible assumption to have is anything from 20 to 30% in your ACOS, so the proportion of your selling price that is going to be spent on advertising. And then for your organic sales, I would say if you want to be really cautious, you can start off with like 35 to 40%. But being sensible, I would say it's more likely to be 50% over the longer term, at least, if you have a good product and a good listing. That is not going to happen if your listing is rubbish and your product is rubbish. Okay. So you can see now, can't you, that before we had advertising costs baked in, we had a 15% profit margin and we were like, happy days, we're making a profit, £2 profit per unit, could be making £1,000 profit per month. But when we factor in the essential advertising costs, it's not worth getting out of bed for, is it? 7 pence per unit, and it's just going to be a complete waste of time, essentially. So my advice is, guys, download this profit calculator or use your own profit calculator if you have one. Make sure you are including advertising costs. And if you have a calculator that doesn't have advertising costs and you still want to use it, then I would say that you really need to be targeting a profit margin before advertising of 30%. So here, this profit margin with no advertising was 15%, and that is why it was making a loss. And I knew straight away as soon as I saw this that it wouldn't be worthwhile. So if you are, doing very quick calculations and you are thinking, I don't really know how to factor in advertising, I would say you want to be looking for products that have a 30% profit margin at least before advertising costs. And then after advertising costs, in order for it to be really worth your while, I would say it needs to be at the very least 10% margin. I've put here a little profit margin barometer, and I'm basically saying it's risky, below 15% profit margin. I do think that's just me being a little cautious there. I do have products after advertising that are about 10% and they make me a profit, which is great. So I would say, guys, if you find a product that you really like the look of and it's got a 10% profit margin, then just make sure that when you are doing your profit analysis, you are being as precise as you can with all your figures. And if it's still coming out 10% and you're still confident about it, I think it's okay. But any lower than that, especially if the sales price is low and the profit per unit is very small, it's probably not worth your while. So I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and you have learned something from it. Honestly, this pay-per-click point is something that is fundamental and a lot of people miss out on it. If you are an active seller with Amazon, you are already selling and you don't really understand pay-per-click advertising, then I do have the pay-per-click mastery course that I offer, which is currently on special, and that runs through absolutely everything you need to know about advertising. So guys, I do hope you have enjoyed it. Please give me a like if you have, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post those in the comment section below. I will see you next time.